Hi, my name is Gideon, and I am doing a vlog on the relationships that I found in the movie Interstellar. I chose Interstellar because I've been wanting to watch it for a while. I just thought it was an interesting movie. I like science, and it is a very, very science-based movie. So it's it's staged in like 2030. The world is coming to an end, and all like the crops are going away. And it's a dad whose name is Cooper, and then his son, and specifically his daughter Murph. He really loves his daughter, and she is a um, very talented young scientist. And as they are as they're living on Earth right now, dust storms are like ravaging the landscape. There's a bunch of blights that are like taking out the crops, and they are trying to figure out a way to survive. So, on one of these dust storm occasions, there's a weird phenomenon that happens in their house that leads to them finding a secret NASA like base. So previously in like the preview of the movie, NASA had gotten like discontinued by the government, saying that they needed to stop focusing on space and like focus on what's going on down on Earth. But NASA had continued to do it in secret. So they stumble upon this area, and the dad, who was previously a NASA scientist, gets the chance to save the world by going into space and like trying to find a new place to live, basically. So I thought this was an interesting movie to start on, and this is what I got from it. So at first, when watching the movie and like previewing it, I thought it was going to be I was going to be focusing on a relationship between the dad, Cooper, who is single. His wife passed away. I thought it was going to be a relationship between him and a female scientist, a female NASA scientist that he meets and goes on this mission with. Turns out that later on in the movie, it was less focused on that, but there was huge emphasis on the relationship of him and Murph, his daughter. And it was really interesting because it was kind of like, it was very like raw emotion. They portrayed the emotions very well. So at the start, they're on this farm on Earth, and the dad is talking to his daughter Murph about like science stuff, and then the dust storm happens and they find NASA, and she does not want him to leave on this space mission, because she knows that he'll probably never come back. So they are like arguing. He loves her, but she does not want him to go. So he ends up leaving on this space mission, and she stays on Earth. But the thing that is like interesting about the whole movie is that the way, like where they're going, there's this thing called time relativity. So basically, as you go to a place with more gravity, time will be different. So this one place that they land on, this one possible new Earth, the time difference was basically, so every hour that the dad spent on this planet equaled 7 years of Earth time. So he went down, and when he came back up, his daughter was his age. So it was really interesting, and his daughter Murph never really forgave him for that. She was very angry that he would just leave her and never come back. So she is now 33, his age when he left, and she becomes a scientist for NASA with Cooper, the dad's previous professor. So she's learning the ways of like science and is working on this equation to get to like solve Earth. I wasn't really very, very clear on that part. So they're attempting to solve this equation while her dad is up in space and not able to communicate with them. They're on like the other side of the universe. So they're not able to send like communications. And her dad basically just like left her for years and years. So she's working on this equation to like save the Earth, and he's out trying to find a habitable planet. So they are doing this, and then the professor dies. But before he dies, Murph, the daughter, he tells her a secret. Basically, this plan that they had to save the Earth, to take all the people from Earth and ship them out to this new habitable planet that they were trying to find, was all a fluke. There was a plan A and a plan B. The plan A was to get everybody from Earth to go populate this new planet, and plan B was to basically populate it using like embryos and just like send the human race out, but not the people from Earth. So she was very hurt by this, and the relationship like just completely fell apart. Her dad loves her, he cares for her a lot, but as the years go by, she never forgave him for leaving her. She thought that he knew this and he left her willingly. Turns out he didn't. He really loved his daughter and wanted to be with her, but he just couldn't. So more years go by, and the first planet that her dad goes to turns out to be very much not habitable. So they go to a different planet, and this one had a previous expedition had already gone there and landed, and it was, so they met up with a guy that had been there. It was just one guy on this planet all alone, and there was like a fight and stuff, and they end up having to leave that planet. But they are presented with a challenge, which was to go back to Earth, to the dying planet, or attempt one more chance to get out and find another habitable planet. So they go out and try and find this other planet. Meanwhile, Murph is struggling with this equation. Her professor died. She still thinks that she can solve it, but she's missing one piece. They have like half the equation solved, but what they need to solve the other half can only be, it's something having to do with like gravity. So the only way that they can find it is at the center of a black hole. And her dad had like learned this from the lady that was on the mission with him. And on the way to this new habitable planet that they're trying to find, they saw a black hole. So he decided that he would try one last time to save Earth. So he like ejected from the main spaceship. She went to go find the habitable planet, and he went into a black hole to try and get this information that they needed to save Earth. So they do that, and he gets to the center of Earth, and the center of the black hole, and goes into the fifth dimension. And in this fifth dimension, the basic like theory behind it is that gravity spans time and space. So he could see his daughter and like send her messages. So he was able to relay through binary code on a watch the like equation, the like missing part of the equation that they found in the black hole. And she finds this out and knows that it's him. And this was like the start of the change of her relationship. It is so at the start they had they were already past the first like initiation and experimenting phase. She was his daughter, and they were in a bonding phase, as we learned in chapter 13. So they were bonding over science when they were younger, and then she leaves and they start she basically terminated this relationship in the like 50 years that he was gone, because it was only like a year for him, but for her it was many, many, many years, and she never forgave him for leaving. So she terminated the relationship, and then she found out that he was trying to help her and get back to her, and she forgave him and reinitiated and re-intensified and integrated that relationship again. So he sends her this code, and somehow the fifth dimension ships him through time to like 120 years later, and he gets back to Earth. They weren't really clear on that part. He just like appeared there. And he got to meet his daughter again. She, at this point, was like 130, and very, very old. And she had forgiven him, and he got to see her one last time before she died. And it was a very, very sweet like reunion, and they got to like bond one last time, which was really cool. So it just like shows the like arc of relationships. They started out, they were very, very close, they had a lot of things in common, and then when he got this opportunity to leave and did leave, she was hurt and cut all ties with him. There was a chance that they could get through messages, but they wouldn't know, and she chose not to. She just completely terminated that relationship. And in the chapter outline, it was showing the different like stages of communication and how those changed throughout life and relationships. She cut that off. She cut all ties with him, and then in her time as a professor, she found that he was trying to help her, and she reunited with him. She was able to reunite with him. And